Which part of the material sector is mostly affected in the shortage? And have you seen any improvements or possible solutions?
If you're talking about chips and materials, which are things that we know of, we see, of course, rare gases being highly affected, also wet chemicals being extremely difficult because of the logistics issues that are happening right now. A lot of countries are very concerned about the chip shortage and how our material is going to be able to grow together with the chip demand, because a lot of the chemical companies are not semiconductor chemical companies. They're industrial chemical companies that have a little bit of their side stream sold to the semiconductor industry. So if the semiconductor industry needs twice as much of that little bit, it's not going to necessarily justify investment by a huge chemical company to do that. So right now we see quite a lot of strain in the wet chemicals industry and some of the specialty gas industry, because I've heard some of them say, oh yeah, we're sold out for the rest of the year. And yeah, we would like to expand if we get enough CHIP Act investment or something. So they're waiting to see if there are any government subsidies that could come their way, and trying to do their best in not investing too quickly. So it's a big concern. Let's try to put a positive light on this. I would say both Western Europe as well as the United States have been trying to do good business with Russia. This situation makes it very clear that their political and cultural differences are extremely different, and it makes it difficult to have supply chain dependencies on one another. So from a positive side, one could say this is not new information, but it's just something that hasn't driven business to be more local. Some people might say, okay, well, that's a positive thing because we should have done it a long time ago. From a longer term perspective, I do believe it is going to cause strain on US-Russia relationships, and that will ultimately impact business and ultimately impact supply chains of all kinds of materials, as well as food products and things like that, that the US and Russia trade. Yeah. Speaking for my own personal hope is that maybe this event will allow the US and China to collaborate more closely or on a friendly basis, because this is a situation that will force the two countries to have to cooperate a little bit more. So that's a good thing, maybe.
Then from the private company's perspective, is there anything that they could do to help themselves?
From the private company's perspective, they need to work closely with their customer to make sure that they're aligned in terms of demand versus supply, and perhaps talk about good long-term agreements, better partnerships. I think that the industry today is not like it was 30 years ago. Right now, the chips are considered in some degree a commodity, which means that cost is very, very high concern amongst all chip companies as well as material companies. Because of that reason, there's a lot more hesitancy to invest very, very quickly. Where 30 years ago, when semiconductor industry was still very new, everybody just thought, what's the next killer app? Let's invest in that. And there was a lot of faith that went into the money that went into the industry. And today it's not like that. So investment happens a lot slower. People are a lot more careful, and they want to see the ROI calculation up front before they would invest any kind of plant. It's different times, exciting, but it also takes people with good economic sense and understanding of how to collaborate and do good partnerships with their customers.